and say, does this look like it's over? Does this look like, the case has been solved? It was truly a suicide.
And they could also have that Secret Service agent that just went public up there on stage with him, talking about all the horrible things Hillary did and saying, is this over? Because she's about to be your president.
Right. So that's the plan. That's what's got to happen. And then, remember, Alex, you and I talked about the Secret Service memo, a month and a half ago? we talked about it. Did a great job. You putting it out. People picked up on it and heard it. But guess what? It just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. So as my training goes, Alex, as a Green Beret, you become a force multiplier. That's what you have to rely on, your ability to create a bigger force. Well, think about it, Alex. If Trump were to come out and say, they're saying this case is solved and it's over. Here's the Secret Service memo. Do you really believe it's solved? Is it over? The media will immediately discredit Trump and that report, right? And when they're trying to discredit it, you know what they're doing?
Spreading it.
Spreading it. There you go.
And that's the plan.
That's what we've got to do. That's the plan.
I'm advising him the famous C-SPAN footage that I haven't even found on YouTube, but I know we've got it on VHS tapes. So they can find it because it was released via subpoenas. You remember all that. You were involved in it.
Yes,
with all the communist generals in the White House meeting and then giving Clinton money, and then the Laura Allen Hughes and the missile secrets. I would go directly to China threatening to attack us today in the South China Sea and point out that Hillary presided over giving them the delivery and reentry systems. That's high treason. That's what I'm telling him. And Stone says, don't worry, that's going to be coming down the road. He says, hey, we got to dole this out. I don't know if I agree with Stone. I mean, I think he just needs to start hammering her with everything he's got.
Well, exactly. And remember, this is the first couple of days that we can do it. We had to hold back our fire until he made it through the primary. Or she made it through the primary. She's through the primary now. Now we're in the feature match. The feature match is on, folks. And we're going to beat her at every turn. We're going to beat hard. Alex, sometimes, just like me with my sickness, you just want to go and go, just cut off the suffering. Some things are too important. You have to take your time. You have to let it build. You have to let it develop. And that's where we're at.
Okay, so Stone's right then to dole this out. How long do we dole this out then? Because I'm afraid they'll kill him before then.
Nothing I can say about that. We do it this way until we...
Sure. Well, then how long would you dole it out? Up until, say, the convention?
Well, no, I would go... This is stuff that I'll be doing every damn week from now until Election Day in November.
Sure, I know, but listen, you accurately said there'll be no indictment. It's going to look like it. It's not going to happen. And now she basically quotes you saying it's not going to happen.
That's right. And you know why she said that? She said that because you know why she was able to say that. She's got the raw FBI data files. And the bad news for Hillary is, so do I. And Alex, I got them. Now, what does that mean, folks? You see, you got to not think single-dimensional. By going after the Clintons, I'm not just going after her. I'm going after every one of them. Every one of them in Washington. And the truth that she is using to blackmail and extort all these people in Washington with, we've got it. And I guarantee you there will be no quarter offered. They're not going to give me any. And I'm just going to return the favor, none for them. But the key to the Secret Service memo is to get it to where it's got legs. Then that Secret Service memo becomes significant another way because it, as you know, had any legitimate investigative body, like the FBI or whatever, had that investigated as primary lead on it, they would have wanted to know the mitigating circumstances of why would Foster kill himself? But you see, there's no suicide note until 6, 7, 8 days later, when they literally, the pressure was on them that there was no suicide note, And all of a sudden they go up to his office, find that magic briefcase that originally was in his car. We had that from Linda Tripp. His briefcase was in his car, and there was blood all over it. They moved that body. And, you know, we've talked about it before, Alex, the media, if they're not going to indict Hillary on that Benghazi stuff, if they're not going to indict her over that, they're not going to indict her. But we can knock the hell out of her budget. Her budget calls for, Alex, she'll spend 60 to 70% of the money she raises to destroy Trump. That's what they're going to do with it. They're going to destroy Trump.
And they're going to do it by saying he hates women and he hates Hispanics.
Yep.
And it turns out this judge is a high-level Mexican supremacist, in my view, a member of La Raza. And that's all seen as kosher by the media. But his law firm has been putting money up to boycott Trump. They have been after Trump. He should recuse himself. So what Trump said about him is true. He said, I have nothing against him, the fact that he's Mexican, but he's a Mexican who's loyal to Mexico. I don't know why you'd want to be loyal to a failed state, but it's just crazy. And that's who Obama's been putting in charge, is just a bunch of people that won't get along with each other, a bunch of balkanized, divided and conquered folks. But that issue's moved on. I see the hoax being pushed that he's way behind her in the polls and that he's in trouble, despite the numbers and many other polls showing the opposite. What does your gut tell you the real numbers are?
My gut is accurate. Right now, it's 40-40-20. That's exactly where it is right now, 40-40-20. 40% for Trump, 40% for Hillary, and 20% in the middle and don't care. That's where it's at right now. You can run 10 million polls, and I assure you, if they show the real results of the polls, and if the questions are the ones that they normally ask, that figure of 40-40-20 will hold. And it's held up through the test of time for our founding fathers. I mean, it was good enough for them, it's good enough for us. We just can't. We can't let them win.
Well, we're almost out of time, and you know, specifically, give us a preview, because I want to start this, you know, as soon as we start going here, the info that you've been imparting to the Trump people, or what to look at next. You know, you just mentioned some more of the Vince Foster. You mentioned some more of the, I mentioned the Chinese generals, the missile secrets. What else should Trump get into in this speech coming up?
Well, the one thing that he must bring up in this speech is, how did North Korea get their nuclear weapons?
Exactly. The Clintons pulled that out and allowed them to get reactors that could enrich uranium. That's another great point. There you go. Yeah.
And, you know, and the reason that will have appeal to the broad audience, if we can get them to pay attention long enough to hear it, that's a game changer. That's a lose-lose for America. We not only give North Korea, see, there were two technologies that could have been given to North Korea. One was that the one system provides the power they need, et cetera, but there's one thing: it does not create any byproduct or waste products that can be used to make a nuclear bomb.
That's right. They gave them a system that allows them to make atomic and hydrogen weapons. I remember the whole thing. That was like ABB, wasn't it? I mean, it's just...
Yep.
And of course...
Well, and the other thing that Trump's got to point out is that they haven't changed their stripes at all. What is the system that we've been working with in this?
The broken coalition strategy, how she's the divider. All right, Larry, we'll talk to you again.
They've made in Iran.
Okay. Oh, Iran's good too. All right, we'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
We're
Be
on
safe.
the march.
Well, I just hate what's happened to this country. We've gone to a country that's no longer respected. We're in a war that we should have never... And by the way, I'm worse than any hawk there is in terms of military and in terms of defending ourselves. But Saddam Hussein didn't knock down the World Trade Center. He had nothing to do with it. And there were no weapons of mass destruction.
The other day, the head of 3M
said that President Obama is anti-business. Do you get the same feeling that he does?
Well, I don't know that it's anti-business or he just really doesn't know exactly what to do. And I'm afraid it probably is the second thing. I don't see him necessarily as anti-business. I think that he is not sophisticated in the ways of business. He hasn't dealt with the people that you've dealt with and that I've dealt with. I deal with China, as an example, a lot. It is never easy. And I've made some very big deals with the Chinese. I've come out on top. I've come out in great shape. I sell apartments to Chinese people. I get along great with them. It's not like, anti-China. I just think it's ridiculous that we allow them to do what they're doing to this country with the manipulation of the currency that you write about and understand, and all of the other things that they do. And frankly, if I were them and if I could get away with it, I take my hat off to them, frankly. They do get away with it. And I hire companies all the time, and it's so hard for our companies to compete against Chinese companies. I mean, these companies have such an advantage, whether it's glass for a curtain wall or whether it's, and you use the term because you know what's happened, sheetrock. I mean, they used to give us sheetrock, just give it. And everybody that was unfortunate enough to use Chinese sheetrock had problems. I mean, problems like where people were dying from it. The good news, Steve, our product is much better, but with the manipulation of their currency, it's very, very, very hard for our companies to compete. But I'll certainly do whatever is necessary and however I can help, whether they want me to make speeches, whether they want me to contribute, raise money, I'll do whatever I have to do. We need somebody great as a president.
I know that you were mentioning that Aaron and I did a kind of an interesting video not that long ago in August about how things have fallen apart. But at that point, the only people who were saying it were us and you.
I was saying it. I was saying it a long time ago. And frankly, they're talking about 50 basis points. I think you should drop it a point, a full, solid 100 basis points, and just sit back and see. And I was actually looking at somebody, a gentleman from Goldman Sachs was saying 175. So that's going to be interesting. But I think that's ultimately going to be happy. And it would be nice if Ben could get now ahead of the curve instead of always being behind the curve.
All right.
Behind the curve. Say what you want.
That is a compilation, and this is getting into more modern times, but it's really powerful the first 10 minutes or so. It's up on Infowars.com. This is why Donald Trump deserves to be president. It's the name of the video. We've put it up there on Infowars.com with the headline that this video will make Donald Trump president if it goes viral. This video will get Donald Trump elected if it goes viral. This is why Donald Trump should be president. And it's really the first 10 minutes that's the most powerful. Him back in 1980, 87, 88, you name it, talking about globalism and how it's screwing over our economy and how it's one-sided deals by the political class working with the elites. Now, shifting gears out of that, we're about to go to Dresden, Germany, the site of Bilderberg 2016. And Charlie Skelton will pop in briefly during the next hour. I'm going to cover other news, though, most of the time. He's a London Guardian reporter to give us his view on Bilderberg this year. And Anthony Gucciardi will be hosting the fourth hour with all the latest news and special reports and more. Now, there's a lot I want to get to today. So I'm just going to spend about 10 minutes with Paul Watson and Rob Dew about some of the big developments at Bilderberg this year. And then I'm going to get into the economy, the EBT card suddenly not working in different areas around the country, causing civil unrest in some areas already. We're going to get into the bizarre media billing Hillary as a god, a goddess, a savior. But also, you know, you see these Daily Show compilations where the reporters all have the same talking point about the Easter Bunny or about Christmas or whatever. This is the same talking point about Hillary. And again, this stuff comes out of the White House. People say, why do you care about Media Matters? The website gets almost no traffic. But it's run by the White House and the Clintons, they admit. So when they put it out, that's when I get attacked in 1,000 publications. Which, by the way, I love. Keep it up, please. I mean, it's like being attacked by Hitler or being attacked by a child molester. You just still don't get, you got a 6% trust rate with the American people. Please, George Soros, Nazi collaborator-run media, White House-run media, please keep saying I'm horrible. How's it going for you saying Bilderberg didn't exist? Now it's all admitted. World government out in the open. How's it going for you? You've discredited yourselves, but you're too narcissistic and too evil to admit it's happened. we're going to Paul Watson, because instead of just being there at the Bilderberg Hotel with their meeting, where reporters have been arrested, our reporters have been detained, harassed, you name it. That's top story on Drudge, by the way.